Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Stephanie Allen, 1980 Festival Plaza Drive, here on behalf of the Boring Company. With me today is Steve Davis, who is the president of the Boring Company, and we're here to present the project known as the Loop to you all today. This is an extremely exciting day. The project is truly remarkable. Last night at Planning Commission, someone mentioned that it's a game changer, and in fact it is. This will be a showcase for the world, really, as far as an innovative transportation system with underground, all-electric vehicles up and down our resort corridor and hopefully beyond in the future. So I'm truly honored to be here with Steve to present this project to you. He has a presentation, but before I turn it over to him, I would like to thank your staff. Yolanda King and Nancy and all of their directors and team members have been phenomenal to work with. Negotiating the franchise agreement and the land use applications that are before you today have literally been hours and hours of work, and it's been a true pleasure. Your staff is the top staff available, and they've been really phenomenal to work with, so we appreciate that. Also, we'd like to thank you all, commissioners, because I know you've spent a lot of time and thought thinking outside of the box. This is different. This is not something the Valley has seen or any of your departments have seen, so we appreciate your open-mindedness, your creative thinking, and really your leadership to get us to this point today. So with that said, I will turn it over to Steve, and he'll tell you more about this exciting project.
Yeah, and just to echo what Stephanie says, thank you so much.
Nope, got to state and spell your name for the record.
Steve Davis, 3395 Cambridge. Yeah, to echo what Stephanie had said, thanks to all of you for all the time and to your staff. The teams have been great. It's been a long journey, so we're excited to be here. So before kind of going into the specifics of Vegas Loop, just to kind of explain what Loop is, because it's kind of a new term, it's a new mode of transportation. Loop is electric vehicles in tunnels. It's a very, very simple transportation architecture, very, very like simple in concept, but very profound with what it actually affects. And the big thing, the most important thing I think is really the express nature of this, which is in Las Vegas, where literally on every corner, you have a very populated, very like impressive resort or property. If you have 51 stations, which is what's being proposed here, and you have to stop at every one, that's a very, very long trip. If you can get in a vehicle, and when I say get in a vehicle, not wait for the vehicle, walk into a station and the vehicle is waiting for you, and go directly to your station, you can really, really kind of solve the traffic problem. And so the example on this slide is if you have 10 stations and 5 miles, and that's literally the airport to the convention center, that becomes a 5-minute trip, as opposed to, let's say, a 15 or 20-minute trip. The zero emissions is wonderful. It's the environmentally the best you can do on a public transportation system, having fully electric vehicles. To be very clear up front, safety is the absolute most important thing on this system. My boss has been extremely clear with me. This must be the safest and securest public transportation system ever built. I can step through these one by one. It would take a fair amount of time. But a few that I really want to focus on, at least at this meeting, is first the fantastic partnership that we have with the local fire department and police department. This has never been done before, so it's really important that we have fantastic partnerships there. We've already completed 45 drills from tabletop to in-tunnel, including tunnel rescue training, and we're going to continue to do so and to expand that. And when you kind of introduce a new major piece of infrastructure, it is fundamentally important that the police department and the fire department and the county are all partners to make sure it's as safe and secure as possible. On the security part, I do also want to mention that we do have, we coordinate an enormous amount with the Department of Homeland Security, and we actually have their gold rating, which is literally the highest rating you can receive from DHS. We'll continue to do so. It's actually in the franchise agreement itself. We would do it anyway. It's just very, very important. And I just again want to stress that safety and security are the highest priorities for us, and that's only made possible through the partnerships with you. Quick recap of what we built so far. We built 3 stations, so 3 of the 51 are complete. This was at the Las Vegas Convention Center. They've been a great partner as well, and I'd say, at least in my opinion, it's been a fantastic success. We've put hundreds of thousands of people through. I don't think people realize that it's open every day. It's operating right now. Very safely, very successfully. What used to be a 45-minute walk is now a 2-minute drive, and I hope all of you have actually taken that ride. When I talk about stations, remember, these are just cars, so stations are places with parking spots. Two types, subsurface, underground, and surface. So this is the subsurface station that's operational at the convention center right now. You can see what it looks like. Most of the stations, there's no reason for them to be this big. For the convention center, they need, the requirement was 4,400 people an hour. We exceed that fairly easily. Most of the stations along the resort corridor require much less ridership, so they'll have smaller stations. And that's just kind of an overhead view of a surface station, also at the convention center. Yeah, what the tunnel looks like. Okay, so let's actually talk about the Vegas Loop itself. We're seeking approval for 29 miles. I cannot express to you how large a project this is. 29 miles is an enormous number. In the past 10 years, in the entire country, I believe less than 20 miles of subway has been constructed. So while this is not a subway, we're looking to build more than the rest of the country in the last 10 years. 51 stations, very, very large number. And capacity, more than 57,000 people. It's actually a lot more than that, but that's kind of the number that we think is going to end up being at the sweet spot for this corridor.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, 57,000 passengers per what?
Per hour.
Per hour. Okay.
Per hour, yeah, correct. It's actually a conservatively low number, to be honest. So critical items, there is no taxpayer dollars. This is all being funded privately. So 100% of financial risk is on myself and our partners. In addition to that, a franchise fee is being paid to the county. So besides us paying for this, the county will be paid a franchise fee, which is a tiered structure. So at low ridership, it's a lower fee, and then it jumps up to the 5% higher fee. I believe at $17.5 million per quarter. I love that structure because it basically means if we are all incentivized for this to be a success, and I believe the county will make a lot of money off of this, which will be great, in addition to the system itself. But again, back to the magnitude of this system, this is enormous. And this is not possible for the Boring Company to build by ourselves. Like, impossible. Like, way too big. We're actually a fairly small company. So the only way this happens is with us to have local partnerships with contractors, and many of them are here to talk, hopefully in support. We need those contractors in order for this to be successful. The second thing is the boring machines that we've designed are different than many boring machines. An enormous amount of local workforce training must happen. Again, this project does not succeed if we do not have proper training programs. So if this is approved, one of the first things you'll see is enormous amounts of partnerships with local contractors, the ones that have been great partners already, and training programs immediately set up. Also, just one thing I should mention is I actually just see this as the beginning. If this is successful, which I truly hope it is, this should expand further. Additional communities, hopefully to Los Angeles at some point once our tunneling speed can justify it, which it cannot as of today, but I bet it will pretty soon. And then one thing I should have said earlier, which I apologize for omitting, just to like give people a concept of like what this ride looks like. Airport to convention center is a good example, but yeah, that's about a 5-minute drive for about $10, and that's per vehicle. So if you have 3 people in the vehicle, it's literally $3 a person. The point is, this is not transportation for the wealthy. This is very affordable, very, very accessible, and very, very comfortable and very, very safe transportation. And we're really excited to work with you to hopefully bring this to fruition. I believe. Yeah, I believe that's all we have. And again, truly appreciate all the time. We'll happily answer any questions.
Okay, so I don't see the person here that asked, but we did have an ADA person here yesterday who asked if they will be able to use the system. So if you could maybe address that, I just want to make sure I get it on the record for him. Yeah,
of course. ADA accessibility is paramount, and it's something we've been working on with nonprofits and local groups for years, actually. To go into a little bit of detail, there's a few different solutions that we have. One, all our vehicles actually are outfitted with transfer boards, every single one of them. Others can actually tow, and then we actually are in the permitting process right now with the county for a vehicle that passengers with wheelchairs can board, and that's actually in the permitting process right now, and hopefully in service in the next month or two, which would be great. But it is critical that not only the convention center system, but this entire system is ADA accessible, not just for wheelchairs, but for all of the different challenges. And so just on the record, like that is fundamentally important, and hopefully, like I said, in a month or two, we're in perfect shape.
Okay. Commissioners, anybody have any questions? Or we have several cards for several cards for public hearing, and then I want to bring staff down so they could walk us through the franchise agreement and some of the other questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So is it something where you're going to build it in phases? Will it be operational in state before it's all finished, or is it all just going to be under work and then it's all done, we'll open to turn the key?
Yeah, so it'll be phased construction, and the wonderful thing about Loop is that anytime a new station is built and connected, it's immediately online. So, for example, right now we have 3 stations with the convention center. We're currently tunneling to Resorts World, like right now. And so when that comes on board, those 2 stations can actually be added immediately with the convention center system. So all of a sudden we'll go from 3 to 5 stations overnight. As we work with the county on the different phasing plans, every time a different tunnel section is built, that station can be got online. So basically the system will grow and become more and more useful.